Well, good Saturday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here on this playoff wild card weekend. Yeah, we can finally talk about playoffs. We'll be live streaming during the games tonight. Maybe we'll do a Zoom-in call during the San Francisco 49er game, because that's what we've been doing on Saturdays. You know, get a little bit of time in, get your guys' thoughts and stuff. I'm still working out the details. Maybe we start out a little bit early with it, you know, leading into the game. Maybe start our coverage at, say, 3:30 and start the Zoom call there and see how it goes. Now, that early game, San Francisco against Seattle, it's going to be nasty. And I say nasty, nasty. When I say nasty, unfortunately for California, well, fortunately, unfortunately, it's good and bad. They've had so much rain. If it's crazy, if you look at the weather maps, and it looks like a hurricane waves are just stacked up out in the Pacific Oceans, just waiting to drop rain. The good news is it's helping on the drought. The bad news in the short run is there's a lot of flooding. And there will be a lot of rain in San Francisco. It is another one of these storms has hit the Northern California. It's sweeping through. Hopefully it makes it over the mountains and gets to the Lake Mead, because that mother humper is drying up. Maybe if we have the Eagles lose in the first round, maybe we could just get their tears and fill up Lake Mead. But anyway, here's the weather forecast for the San Francisco-Seattle game, a game that could impact us if we get past Tampa Bay. Windy at times with the steady rain this morning. Showers were perhaps a rumble of thunder developing in the afternoon. Highs 56. Winds 25 to 35 miles an hour. Chance of rain 100%. Heavy rain possible. So it is going to be nasty, and I mean nasty, out there in California. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be a sloppy game, to say the least. Then we have the Chargers taking on the Jaguars, a game where a lot of people are actually picking the Jaguars, where we believe that the coach could be on the hot seat, much like Mike McCarthy, if they do not do well. But let's move on to our Dallas Cowboys, because, of course, we've got our game on Monday night, the featured event. I'm not sure why there should be Monday night football games and things, but we are hearing so many people that have been talking about Dak Prescott and his interceptions and how bad he is and everything else. And CeeDee Lamb was asked about if he's worried about Dak Prescott's turnovers and things.
It's not about, Tony. You guys can point the finger at him. You can talk about the vacation. And if you do that,
my bad,
it's really unfair. It's really unfair. It's my team. It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
It's not
we lost
fair.
As a team. We lost as a team, man. It's not about.
This is it's my bad. This happened on the 13th. This is happened 15 years ago. T.O. talking about his quarterback team. Wrong clip. Forgive me. CeeDee Lamb was asked about the interceptions that have impacted Dak Prescott's confidence. He's still a very confident guy, and we believe as a team in him and his ability to lead us to where we want to go, and that's Arizona. We got 4, and 4 got us. So here's the thing. I'm kind of I want to go through and let you know, this is my opinion. This is just my opinion here, okay? Because I think we get a lot of this.
Can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that we want to try and paint. And I probably am guilty of this. Can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that
we'll often do that. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to dispute that the interceptions are not a problem. They are. But come on now. You can't look at every single one of those and say Dak Prescott is just, willy-nilly just throwing up the football, that he's about to get sacked, and let me just blind eye, just chuck and duck. It's not what's happening. He's made some bad reads, but I will say that there's other quarterbacks that have made some bad reads too out there. Some of them, bad throws by him. Stupid throws. Some of them, passes in traffic he's forcing in there that get tipped up and intercepted because there's 2 and 3 guys around him. That happens in football. But what's been driven home to you guys is Dak Prescott tied for first in interceptions with 15 with Davis Mills. It's Davis Mills and Dak Prescott. That's the list. Oh, my God, Dak Prescott is Davis Mills. He sucks. How could you do that? And he's done it in less games. I think is that what they say? But here's the thing that's interesting, though. Here's the thing that's interesting. Because you got Derek Carr has got 14. Josh Allen's got 15. I know they have him in more, in more games. So the percentage is higher. Kirk Cousins has got 14. Matt Ryan has 13. Joe Burrow has 12. Aaron Rodgers has 12. Right? Here's the thing. Here's the thing that they don't tell you about. Because if the Cowboys were throwing 15 picks like Davis Mills and ranked in the offense in the same location, let's see. Let's look down the list here. Where is he? Houston. Okay. If the Cowboys and Dak Prescott were like the Houston Texans and Davis Mills and averaging 17 points a game, yeah, that's bad. If the Cowboys were like, say, let's see on the list here, Derek Carr and the Raiders averaging 23.2 points a game and having the interceptions, okay. If Josh Allen has 14, Josh Allen in Buffalo, let's see, where's Buffalo? Buffalo, with those interceptions, averaged 28.4. Interesting. Nobody's talking about Josh Allen and their turnovers, though, are they? Because Dallas is right there behind them, 0.9 of a point, averaging 27.5 points a game. Aaron Rodgers, he's got less interceptions, but take a look at where his points are per game. Can't even find it. It's so low. 14th. What they don't tell you is the Cowboys, even with Cooper Rush averaging 22 points a game, are the 4th highest scoring team in the NFL. And since Dak's been back, they've averaged almost 32 points a game, which is higher than any other team. So, yes, Dak is throwing interceptions, but they still have been winning. At least get the whole picture. At least say, yes, Dak Prescott is leading the NFL in interceptions, but it hasn't stopped the Cowboys from winning. It has not stopped them from winning. And then people will say, oh, look at the Washington game. That game was lost before Dak Prescott threw that interception. Let's be clear here. You gave them the ball twice, basically in the red zone, to start the game. The team was flat. Nobody was doing jack crap. We sucked. Dak was just part of the rest of the suckage in that game. That was a game that they went in lackluster, didn't really care about it, and their mind was thinking on Tampa Bay. And I believe that the Cowboys have been working on playing Tampa Bay for a couple of weeks now. That they've been laser focused on that, and they looked at that Washington game as, if we get it, great. But this is nothing in comparison to what we have to do against Tampa Bay. Now, last night, my fireside chat, I talked about probably the nicest thing or the best thing that I've seen or heard from Mike McCarthy in coaching. Last year, we heard Mike McCarthy basically say that the team was nervous last year. And I can understand that because they've got the weight of the Dallas Cowboys nation, the #1 fan base. They have the weight of everybody that's just waiting for them to slip up. You can be one of the highest scoring teams in football. You can play better than expectations when nobody thought you'd be a playoff team, but then still told that if you don't win the Super Bowl now, you're a failure. That's a lot of pressure to be on there. I can understand them being nervous last year. But Mike McCarthy said, listen, he showed pictures of the kids, the babies that were alive on the team when the team last won a road playoff game, 93. He said, you're not responsible for everything that happened before you guys. You're just not. And that's the truth, Cowboys Nation. This team had nothing to do with my quarterback, my teammate. This team has nothing to do with the catch, no catch. This team has nothing to do with the botched snap in Seattle. This team has nothing to do with the 8-8-8-8 or the 5-11, 5-11, 5-11s. This team has nothing to do with any of that. This team is this team. And so all that stuff that people keep trying to feed you, but this is what they always do, these guys weren't part of that. So onward and upward, DeMarcus Ware has a little bit, has some thoughts. Everybody's got some thoughts for the Cowboys going into play Tom Brady and Tampa Bay.
For that Monday night matchup with the Cowboys, Brady's won 11 of regular season games, or all of his regular season games against Cowboys. In fact, 7 in their most recent matchup in Week 1, the Bucs won 19-3 to Tampa, finishing with a losing record. As you know, this season, it's his first losing season as a starter. And now Tom Brady is playing in his first playoff game as...
Well, they're a team that's simple. You know, they're a good team, but they're simple. They don't run anything really exotic defensively and offensively. You know, they're just a really talented team, and you know they're just going to play straight up and see if you could beat them. So we got to come with our best.
The mentality of how Dak is thinking now is I have to carry everybody on my back. I have to try to make plays, meaning I have to run a little bit more. I have to sort of try to string plays out and hit in these really small holes when guys are getting double teamed instead of just playing the management game. I think if he goes back to being Dak and just managing the game, he'll be okay. But it's all about a mentality of how he's thinking right now. And if he can get back to just being comfortable, we'll get that Dak back that can carry us to the playoffs. The package has been watered down. I don't see a lot of the plays that they run up early, because usually when you first start the season, you start doing all this NASCAR, these crazy packages, and you see it become really effective, and then you get comfortable. You get comfortable with, all right, well, then we're just going to put guys here and say we're going to beat you. Yes, we can do that, but that's when the offenses can scheme and say we're going to double team Micah and on a slide to DeMarcus Lawrence. And I think we got to get back to being dynamic. You got a lot of dynamic players on that defense. Don't water it down. Let those guys go out and do what they need to do. Yes, plays will be given up, but the big plays will happen so Dak can score those points. If another player is saying your game plan is simple, we're saying the same thing in the locker room too. Tom just letting you know that we see that somebody else is saying it. We're not going to say it, but if somebody else is saying it, we're saying the same thing too in the locker room, and something needs to change. Because if you got all those dynamic players, like I said earlier, they can get the job done and get pressure on the quarterback. And I've seen Micah get beat up by 2 and 3 guys every single day. Move them around.
Yeah.
And let them be a little bit more effective and create those mismatches. The Cowboys will win if they control the front seven, meaning the trenches. The guys up front controlling the trenches, they'll win this football game because now Zeke will get the touches, Pollard will get the touches, and the defensive line will get that pressure that's needed to stop Brady or slow him down. I wouldn't say stop. Slow Brady down to get that short field advantage of score points. So controlling the trenches, hands down. And so you got to buy into that pressure. Yes, it was a lot more pressure with the Cowboys owning that start. This is one of probably the number one team in sports. So when they go somewhere, it's like bringing the Super Bowl to your team.
You're right about that.
And you got to own that. So it's almost like you got to be that bigger gladiator that's in the stadium to say, when I suit up, I know that everybody's watching. I got to own that. I got to itch my name in that Dallas Cowboy star. And that's one thing that's hard to sort of fathom. But if you're on the best, be the best, but you got to be that every single game. I would say the Cowboys win. I think they're just tired of hearing it that, oh, you're going to play Brady. That's it. I think that's just gas on
I'm tired of
fire. And they'll be able to close this game out, go down there and get a win.
I am so pumped for Super Wildcard Weekend, particularly the Monday night game.
Let's listen to just this for a few minutes. This is kind of
Tom Brady or Dak Prescott.
I feel I don't even have it in me to make fun of Dominique on this. I really don't. I mean, I assume you have the whole thing we do all the time. Alabasta, we talk about Dak Prescott and Dominique and, water. But it's just, Mina, it just feels like, are you guys really taking Dak Prescott, I guess? Because I, by no means, feel that way.
Well, it's a tricky question, actually, because Dak Prescott was better than Tom Brady for most of the season, and then Dak Prescott did what I described earlier on camera in Week 18. I had arguably the worst game of his career, honestly. Meanwhile, Tom Brady, who was very up and down this season, the Bucs offense was a slog, suddenly came alive right before the postseason with that the game against Panthers where he threw 3 deep touchdowns to Mike Evans. So kind of our last vivid memories of these quarterbacks is not who they were for most of the season. And Dominique, that's why this is tricky for me because, I do believe Dak outplayed Brady most of this year, but I'm not sure it matters this week.
Yeah, I mean, if it's about, well, first of all, this isn't in the weekend. This is Monday, so this does not count as Super Wildcard Weekend. This is Super Wildcard Weekday. But, I think it's a hard question to answer. I think when you're in the playoffs, a safe place to go is Tom Brady at all costs. If you're asking about the quarterbacks versus the teams, that's where it gets challenging because it's obvious that the Cowboys offense, which has been helmed by Dak Prescott, is much better and has been much better than the Bucs offense. The Bucs had one game against a bunch of backup corners where Tom threw a bunch of deep passes to Evans, and now people feel like maybe they're good at offense. That's not it. I think Dak has had interception issues, and I've gone as long as I can blaming it on other people. The last 2 weeks, ain't nobody to blame it on but you. Like that one in the Eagles game, that's on you, Dak. The one that should have been, or I guess also the Tennessee game, yeah, that was on you, Dak. The one that happened in Washington, and then the one that you tried to throw before the one you actually threw in Washington, all on Dak. So, yeah, it's hard for me to have confidence going into this game, picking my guy Dak Prescott over Tom Brady, honestly.
Dominique Mina has the memory. He has a specific memory of someone who has been wronged in a relationship. Just like the litany of mistakes. By the way, 11 interceptions in his last 7 games now. But I feel like Mina was
memory. It's the memory of a water carrier. Like you never forget when you're carrying the water and then you just spill it because there's nothing you can do. Other like I can try to balance it, but I can't balance it anymore, Dak. You got to give me something to work with.
Yeah, there you
go. Write tears in on the water jug in the graphic.
There you go. Now I'll remind you, Matthew Stafford last year had 17 and more pick sixes than Dak this year. They end up being Super Bowl champions. It's a new season. It doesn't matter that Tampa Bay has averaged 18.4 points a game all season. It's one game. And we've learned in football that on any given Sunday, you can either win or lose. I hope you guys all tune in. TDK TV is going to be interviewing me earlier today. I want to say about 3 or so o'clock. So we'll be looking forward to doing that. And we have something else that's new that's going to be added. We actually have a sponsor that is going to be sponsoring some of our content. So look out for that as well. I'm Mark Holmes. And of course, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Oh, and don't forget to check out my cooking channel. We're going to be doing a whole lot of different stuff. Now the football season is winding down. I always put on a lot of weight during the football season. I'll be the first one to tell you. I'm going to try and get back to getting some of this weight off to begin the year so we can get ready to start the football season together. And hopefully some of you, strength in numbers, we can do this stuff together. But if you're not into dieting, of course, all of the big subs and things like that are on there. And I'm going to be giving cooking tips of ways of saving time, money, and definitely making your food dollars stretch further in these times of inflation. So definitely check out Cooking and Tailgating with Joe Boo. And with that being said, I'll be cooking and practicing on this new sub, the Joe Boo Mojo Heater. Yeah, we're going to have that for Monday night.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe